Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Bangor. I am Reverend Drew Moeller, and it's a pleasure to be with you here in the sanctuary and with those of you who are joining us on Zoom. I can tell by the level of conversation pre-service that people are in the holiday spirit. Can I get an amen? You have more spirit than that, but we'll let it go. um, for anybody who's joining us today, I just want to invite you to join us for coffee and conversation after the service. You can do that very briefly and then look for a guide. Who's going to help bring people downstairs? We have a tea or a little get-together with me, the minister, and a member of our membership fellowship team for people who want to ask more questions about our congregation or get to know us a little bit more. It's not just for new people, it's also for people who have been here for a while that still might have some questions and just want to hang out and chat. So I want to invite you down to that. Before we get started, we have Julie Eubanks who's going to bring some morning announcements. So, Julie?
Hi, everyone. So I have a couple of announcements. Some are in your program, some are not. So you can just refer to the program for any more information. So just a reminder, the mitten tree back in the back of the sanctuary, we're continuing to collect donations for that until December 17th. Important announcement, there is one wreath remaining and a swag that folks forgot to pick up. So it's really important, if that belongs to you, to pick that up today because we can't leave live greenery in the church. Also exciting that Natalie is here today with our Equal Exchange products. So if you're thinking about things to get folks for the holidays, there's coffee, tea, chocolate, and all sorts of good stuff. So Natalie isn't here every week, so take advantage of that. Basket winners, exciting news, our basket auction collected a little over $3,400. Yay. So those of you that bid on a basket and won, you can see Suzanne Kelly about making arrangements to get your basket. Today is our monthly food collection for the food cupboard, the ecumenical food cupboard. So there's bins in the Dorothy where you can leave your food items, and then between 11:30 and 12 on the sidewalk during the Chimes concert, you could also leave items there. Finally, Drew shared the chat with the minister. That's today at 11:15. Finally, there are still lots of raffle tickets available. So see Sue McKay after the service, and she can set you up with an envelope of raffle tickets. There's more information on our website and a little bit more information also in your order of service today. So I think I got everything.
So just in case you didn't hear, there was a question about, will there be drumming today after the service in the sanctuary? And the answer is yes. Let us now just take a moment to pause in the midst of all the holiday hubbub, the excitement, the raffles, the basket auctions, all the drumming and things that are going on, and just take a moment to gather ourselves, our thoughts. Take a couple deep breaths, come into this space, this joyous place that we create together, be it in the sanctuary and also includes those who are joining us online. May you find that relaxing space in your surroundings. And as we move into our time of worship, let us just be reminded that each and every person is welcome here, just as you are. Blessed be.
So now it is time to light our chalice and our Advent wreath. So I'd like to invite Carrie O'Brien to come on up and do that. Spirit of life and hope, we turn our minds and hearts again toward Thee. Awaken us again to the mysteries that humble us, the realities that orient us, the truths that judge and guide us, the beauty that informs and ravishes us, the love that nurtures us, the fellowship that sustains us, the creativity that heightens and deepens and reorders our living, that we may give ourselves in honesty and openness to the larger life before us.
And I'm going to have Carrie, I think she's down there, still hanging out. I have some words for our Advent wreath. Last week we began lighting before I do that, I just want to have you notice and appreciate the new Advent wreath that we are commissioning today. Last Sunday, our old Advent wreath kind of broke and was falling apart, and through a flurry of text messages and emails, our worship team, people purchased different elements, hoping that they would go together, and miraculously they did. So, thank you. Last week, we began lighting our Advent wreath as a symbol of hope, which had two origins: the older pagan tradition of being present in the moment and providing support for the sun by taking action now in this moment. And we also talked about the Christian tradition of Advent, of waiting for a better world to come. Today, we light the second Advent candle in honor of peace. In reflecting on the concept of peace, let us consider these words by the Dalai Lama that teach us, or says, when we feel love and kindness towards each other, it not only makes others feel loved and cared for, but it also helps us develop inner happiness and peace. He also says peace does not mean an absence of conflict. Differences will always be there. Peace means solving these differences through nonviolent means, through dialogue, education, knowledge, and through humane ways. So let us light our candle of peace. It's already done, maybe. All right, great. Thank you. I now invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing our opening hymn, Light One Candle. The juices flowing, huh? So I'm going to ask our young people to bring their light down to the rug here so that we can have our story for all ages. All right. I see we've got a reindeer here. That's great. Okay. So this time of year we celebrate many different holidays that compare darkness and light. Next week we will celebrate winter solstice, which comes from several ancient festivals and rituals that mark the full circle of the earth rotating around the sun. Many of these festivals were about celebrating and encouraging the sun to return back to lengthening the days. Later cultures also found these stories very important at this time of year. In the Jewish tradition, people celebrate the story of Hanukkah. How many of you have heard of Hanukkah? All right. This is a celebration that takes place over 8 days and nights. The story is believed to be real, something that happened over 2,000 years ago. The story is about a Jewish family and their friends and neighbors who were driven out of their homeland by invaders into their cities. These invaders destroyed their homes, their stores, their places of worship, including their temple, where the Jewish people gathered on the Sabbath, which is Friday to Saturday, just like we gather on Sunday morning. Can you imagine if do you think the Jewish people liked people coming in and destroying their homes and things like that? I'm guessing probably not. I kind of imagine what it would feel like if somebody came in and destroyed our beautiful building and we couldn't come here and be all together in person. So what they did is, at first, they all kind of ran away. They hid because they were fearful that these people who were invading their country might harm them. But after a while, they decided that this wasn't quite fair, and there was one particular family known as the Maccabees who got really angry, and they decided that they were not going to accept this injustice, and so they decided to fight back against the Syrian invaders. And they went back and they reclaimed their homeland. They reclaimed their houses, they reclaimed their stores, they reclaimed their temple. But when they got there, it was in disaster. Everything was thrown about. Anything of value had been stolen by the invaders. And so as they were gathering together, they said, well, what can we do to purify the temple, to make this our special place again? And they found the old oil lamp sitting over in the corner. And in this particular temple, they had a lamp that they kept lit 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. But when they went to set up the oil lamp to reclaim their space, there was only enough oil to last a day. So what do you think they did? Anybody? Well, they had the option of they could put the oil in the lamp and light it, or they could say, well, maybe we're not going to do that today, we'll wait. Well, they decided that they were going to light the lamp. So they put the oil in the lamp, they lit it, and they didn't know what was going to happen, and they knew that they wouldn't be able to get more oil for at least a week. So they lit the lamp, and they sat there and waited. And lo and behold, something miraculous happened. The oil that we put in the lamp that was only supposed to last one day lasted for 8 days until a fresh supply of oil could come in. And they thought that this was a miracle, and they also thought that this was a message that they were receiving, that although they had been attacked and driven out of their lands and they had managed to come back, that God had not abandoned them, that hope was still alive in their hearts. They were not going to be driven away from all the things that they believed that were important and sacred. They were not going to be driven away from their faith and justice and loving and caring for one another. And so they endured. And so today we are going to light a menorah, which is a special candle holder that is designed to hold 8 candles. Now, those of you who are really good at counting are going to look at this menorah and say, but Drew, there's 9 candles there. What's with the 9th candle? The 9th candle here is called the shamash candle, and this is the servant candle. This is the candle that is used to light the other candles. Do we have a volunteer to? No, Laura? Okay, Cora. Oh, Cora is going to light the candles. And so Cora is going to light the candles from right to left because that is how Hebrew is written. And before you light the candles, we have a couple prayers that I have to say so that we're kosher in doing this right. Oh, maybe not.
I'll help.
Okay, Mom helps. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so the prayers are nice and short but sweet. So please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer as we hear these words. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy with your commandments, commanding us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors in those ancient days and at this season. And finally, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. So let us light those candles. I'll scoot over so you've got some room. Yeah. Okay. Great. How are we doing? And one of the other traditions that happen at Hanukkah, one of my favorites, is the Jewish people eat a lot of wonderful food that is fried in oil. So they have these wonderful potato pancakes that folks eat, and donuts, anything that you can think of that is fried. It's lovely, and I actually had a chance to experience a little bit of that on Thursday night when we first started the first day of Hanukkah down by the library. If you get a chance, drive by, and you can see a big, huge menorah that has been put up by our Jewish neighbors from the conservative temple. So, yeah. So that's our story of Hanukkah today. And I'm going to now invite you to head downstairs to your classes. I don't know if you've got fried food down there, but I hope you find some later in the day and celebrate the light of Hanukkah. Please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Great universal spirit, interconnected web of which we're a part, we gather in this special place and time to hold up the joys and sorrows that make up the fabric of our lives. Today, we hold in our hearts the many people who are celebrating birthdays at this time and celebrating accomplishments of being inducted into national honor societies and also the joy of being together in a community and having fun as we're doing our fundraising. That brings a special joy to the holiday season. Spirit, we also hold in our hearts those who are victims of natural disasters, of tornadoes in Tennessee, and those who are struggling in our world in places where there is conflict and war. We also hold those in our midst who are recovering from illness, those who are waiting for diagnoses, and those who are healing. And we also hold in our hearts those things that don't really fall into a joy or a sorrow, but just an awareness of schedules changing and infections that are creeping unexpectedly. May they resolve themselves, and may the important work of surgeries and other things go forward. Spirit, we gather in this time and place because we know that each of our lives tells an important story. Each of our lives holds a deep and abiding truth. By coming together in this time and this space, we learn about each other, and in the process, we grow closer to becoming one. Blessed be. Amen. We will now receive the morning's offertory. This morning, half of the undesignated donations will go to help support the Bangor Homeless Shelter, a group that is a great resource in our community, a much needed resource in our community. So, as always, we encourage you to give with a generous heart. It is with gratitude that we receive this morning's gifts to support the Bangor Homeless Shelter and this beloved community. Thank you.
So this reading is called The Imprint of Love by Reverend Laura Horton Ludwig. Spirit of life and love, light within and without, mystery from which we have all emerged, within which we live and die, be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the center of our being. As people of faith, we seek to live in a spirit of love, a spirit of community, justice, and peace. And yet, in so many corners of the world, both far and near, we see divisiveness and hate. If we look deep within ourselves, perhaps we will even find those shadow energies there too. We struggle to respond to the outer world and our inner dramas in ways that manifest love. At times, we may fear that love will not be strong enough. At times, we may question whether love really is at the root of all things in this world with so much struggle and suffering and discord. We may struggle to hold on to our faith in love, knowing that if all things come from the one source we proclaim, that source must somehow hold hate as well as love, violence as well as peace, evil as well as good. This is the mystery within which we live and die. These are the questions that haunt our days and nights, and yet we are not without hope. Our struggles and our questions testify to our longing for peace, for love. Our very longings are born out of that mystery we dare to address as spirit of life and love. In the stillness and silence of our own heart, we read the imprint of love, created not by our own will, but planted there for us to discover. By what or whom we cannot know, and yet it is there, a clue, a talisman, a beacon, a light within. May it keep hope alive even as we dwell in mystery. May it guide us all as we seek to act wisely and well. May it help us to be vessels of compassion for one another and for our world. Amen.
This is what you get when you ask a talented musician to play something in contrast to some of the other stuff. And I just thank you for that. That was wonderful. As we used to say when I was in jazz band in high school, boy's got some chops. Thank you. Next week, we will celebrate the longest night of the year, the solstice. The daylight will be almost half of what it was at the summer solstice, and the coldness of winter feels bleak against our bones as the jet stream brings colder air and precipitation of a wintry mix of rain, freezing mist, sleet, and snow. It's a bleak time of year here in the Northern Hemisphere when crops won't grow, and we're forced inside to stay warm and to carry on our own routines by artificial light that we know is not quite the same. We feel the encroachment of the darkness psychologically or physiologically as our bodies react with irritability and even depression. So, the festivals that we celebrate this time of year focus on chasing away the gloom and trying to chase away the extremes of our natural environment. We light candles, we put up holiday lights, we light Christmas trees and inflatable reindeer, and attend concerts and go to parties and all these things to kind of drive away the blues. We engage in rituals. We gather with family and friends and retell old stories of hard times, of overcoming adversity through moments of miracles, of awe and transformation. This extreme time of the year and of the celestial bodies brings to us an awareness of our human nature and contrasts with the growing shortness of day and dark and the biting chills of the winter winds. The miracle of the oil lasting 8 days, the birth of wisdom and awareness of sitting under a Bodhi tree in the Bodhi day, the return of Persephone from the underworld, and the potential of every child that is born in challenging circumstances. The generosity of innkeepers who didn't have a room but still found a way, an option, and gave a family what they needed. Underneath all these stories that come from many different cultures, there is a similar theme that echoes through human history. Even amidst the challenges of everyday life, there is hope. There is potential that human beings, out of their awareness of fragility and the ability to be kind and caring creatures, are able to do something greater. This is a deep contrast from what we hear about in the news. There is something about contrast that increases our awareness because it reduces the background noise that helps us see the essence of what is there. Think about it. When you take a photo, what is captured is a contrast between light, color, and shadow. When doctors want to see more deeply into our bodies, they often use dye or radiation as a contrast that helps them focus on the real-time functioning of our bodies. We understand how precious peace is when we experience war, whether in person or on our TV screens. When we experience hard times or poverty, we become deeply aware of the growing wealth discrepancies in our culture. Often we are blind to the injustices of discrimination until we experience the injustice ourselves, or know somebody who is near and dear to us who has been harmed. We often take our youthfulness and our health for granted until we experience a state that is strikingly different when our awareness strikingly different when we start to age, become old, develop health issues. To balance that equation, in the summertime near the summer solstice, we don't think so much about the cold or the snow or the short days. We experience a contrast that is less stressful, though still a contrast. But it's a contrast that's so much easier to ignore. Funny, huh? Some contrasts are more noticeable than others. This is a good awareness. Neurologists have noticed that as a species, we tend to focus on our harder experiences. Neurologist Rick Hansen calls this the negativity bias. This plays out in so many ways in our lives. It's a defense mechanism that we have evolved to preserve life and warn us about potential harm. The stories that make the headlines are the information that we tend to consume. Is not about what's going right, it's about what's going wrong. Perhaps that's why we have developed these rituals of merrymaking and customs that we celebrate at this time of year, so that we can offer a balance to the darkness, the cold, the dormancy. Even when we notice the turning of the year, that we get a little older and that our bodies are changing, or joy that we might have found in old customs may not be as rich as they once were. Yet still we go through the motions because they remind us of joyful times when things were different. It allows us to share and encourage joy and hope in each other. One of the great gifts of contrast is that it helps us focus in on a particular thing that we're searching for. But that level of focus can also prevent us from paying attention to the big picture, right? In Buddhism, there is a technique that we use for trying to cultivate joy, not our own joy, but also for other people. And it's called mudita, or sympathetic joy. It is considered one of the sublime states of awareness that helps us cultivate connection with others and allows us to connect with the joy as a means of bolstering joy, not for ourselves again, but for all beings. I think embracing this sense of sympathetic joy is one possible antidote to the holiday blues. We might not be in the holiday spirit, but at least we can recall moments in our holidays of past that did bring us joy. Maybe we can see joy in somebody else's experience of the holidays, like a young child wondering about the solstice and how those people felt waiting for the sun to return. Or the mystery of Santa Claus, or the strange conversion of that interesting character, Ebenezer Scrooge. Somehow he was able to convert that bah humbug into joy. As our reading earlier described, we often see within whatever it is that we experience as all-powerful this opportunity of there being destruction as well as good. How is it that these things coexist? And I think that these things invite us, this is what faith is about, it invites us into a partnership with what does exist and allows us to make choices. How do we want to live? What meaning does our life take? Yeah? And it's true that all these things happen, but how do we respond? Do we react by continuing, perpetuating violence? Or do we pause, take a moment, and try to think a way to react or respond in a way that's thoughtful, in a way that doesn't create more suffering, in a way that brings joy, not to ourselves, but to everyone, to all living beings? So to end my little talk today, I thought I would offer you some words that are used in a meditation. Some of you might be familiar with metta loving kindness meditation. This is another, what they call Brahma Vihara, or a meditation to help foster a particular state of wholesomeness in the mind that allows people to be in a better place wherever you are, however you are in this holiday season. So for a moment, picture somebody in your life that may have some things that are kind of going for them. Maybe it's a high school student who is on the honor roll, or some of those family members that you haven't seen in a long time, or maybe a partner who is getting ready for surgery. And as you do, if you imagine that person in your mind and your heart, offer these words to them. May your happiness and good fortune continue. May your happiness and good fortune increase. May your happiness and good fortune never wane. May your happiness and good fortune continue. You can try doing this at home and offering it to many different people as part of a meditation. But I'll leave you with this. Say to yourself, may your happiness and good fortune continue. May the blessings in your life increase. May your openness to love and to caring for each other never wane. May these good fortunes continue. Blessed be, and amen. And now, to foster a little bit more contrast, we're going to go out with a bang here with, I think, one of many people's favorite hymns, Deck the Halls. As we extinguish our Unitarian Universalist chalice flame, symbol of faith, hope, love, and the contrast of kindness, justice, and care for our fellow human beings, let us be reminded that although our time of worship has come to an end, our service to each other in the world has just begun. Who wants to cover the candle today? All right. I now invite you to join hands as you're comfortable and sing in our closing benediction.